Okay, so today we are doing a review on this book, The Two Towers, which is the second book in the Lord of the Rings series by J.R.R. Tolkien. So, moments ago I just finished another review that I was doing, but I had trouble remembering the book because it was a while ago when I read it. It was about a week ago. I just finished reading this book today, so it's all fresh in my mind. Let's get my thoughts out there. Now, if you have not seen my reviews before, I do split them up into two sections. I start with a spoiler-free version, and then I end up into a spoiler version. But don't worry, I will let you know when we reach each section. Okay, so let's start off with the spoiler-free version of this book and start off with the three cons that let's first of all start off with the stats. So, first things first, this is a half tome. It is around 400 and something pages, so it's not quite 500, but very close. It is a classic, and I ended up giving it 3 stars. So, for those of you who have been following my J.R.R. Tolkien journey for the month of April, you would have noticed that I gave The Hobbit 2 stars, and if you saw my weekly review for last week, I gave The Fellowship 1 star and said I'm not even going to review it. I just didn't enjoy it at all. Tolkien has made me fall in love with him with this book. Finally, he's given me a book that I loved, that I really enjoyed, and it was a book where they went on a quest, and I still enjoyed it, so that says a lot. So let's jump right in and start off with discussing my 3 cons for this book, spoiler-free. My first con for this book is the fact that it is split into 2 parts. Now, this is something that's always annoyed me. I've never quite understood why books need to have a book 1 and then a part 1 and then a part 2 within the same novel. It never made sense to me. The Lord of the Rings was always meant to be read as one book. It's been split into 3 separate novels, and I understand that. So that does not include The Hobbit. That's Fellowship, Two Towers, and Return of the King. But within Two Towers, there are 2 separate parts, and that does annoy me. However, what really annoys me about the 2 parts of this book is that the part 1 has you following one group of people and beings, should I say, and then part 2 has you following another group of beings. And so we start with part 1, we follow a group of beings going on a quest. That's fine. We get to the conclusion of where we're going to leave them at the end of part 1, which was an exciting conclusion. Then we get to book 2, follow another group, a completely separate group, and we don't go back to group 1. Also, another con within that same one con is that we ended Book 1, Fellowship of the Ring, following the protagonist. The protagonist is not mentioned, he's mentioned, but he is not seen at all until you get to part 2 in this book. So the first part of this book is just dealing with the side characters and not the protagonist, which I was okay with because I'm not really the biggest fan of the protagonist. I gotta be honest, I prefer other characters more. But the fact that it took until halfway through the book to see the protagonist, yeah, I definitely have to label it as a con. My second spoiler-free con is Tolkien's descriptions. Oh my goodness. Okay. So many people have commented on this, and I am certainly no LOTR connoisseur in any way, shape, or form. This is my very first time I'm reading this series, so I even get characters' names or being types mixed up as I do my reviews, so please forgive me on that. But one thing I can agree upon from people who have either read the series once or multiple times, and they are like Lord of the Rings fanatics, is that Tolkien is overly descriptive with everything that he can be. If our characters come across a rock that we may write if we're writing a book that the rock was grey, and that's it, Tolkien will take pages upon pages upon pages to describe this rock. And that is very annoying, and I find myself zoning out when he goes into descriptions because I know that they're just very long-winded. So, yeah, I don't appreciate his long descriptions of things. If he's discussing things about a character that are not just a physical description, I find that intriguing, but it's physical descriptions of things that, yeah, takes up way too much time. My third con for this book, and indeed the first 3 books, if you include Hobbit, so Hobbit, Fellowship and Two Towers, is Gandalf. Now, I am so mindful of the fact that this is a spoiler-free section, so I'm not going to say too much about his character. What I am going to say is that there are things about him that really annoy me, and we need to talk about them in the spoiler section, so please hold on, we'll be there soon. So much to say, seriously. I have issues, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay, let's get to my 3 pros about this book, and there are 3 pros. It deserved the 3 stars that it received. My first pro is the characters, the Ents. I'm not going to say too much about them because I don't want to spoil it, but what I will say is that the Ents are trees, and I love them. Oh my god, I want to go live with these trees. They're so awesome. And they are the first type of character that I've read from any of the books I've read of Tolkien's this month that I just want to sit down and talk with for days upon days upon days. Who needs sleep? Let's just keep talking to these Ents. They are so beautiful. I love them. My second pro is, again, another character, is Gollum. Although Gollum is referred to as 2 separate characters, and I realise that, so we have Gollum and we also have Smeagol, I mean both of them. Okay, I mean the one character with 2 names. Let's just call him Gollum. I love Gollum, and every single scene that I have read with Gollum, not just in Two Towers, but any other Lord of the Rings associated work, I love when Gollum's there because the level of intrigue spikes every single time Gollum comes into a scene. It goes from boring and meandering to, oh my god, you know something's going to happen because Gollum's here. So anytime that I read the word Gollum, I'm like, oh my god, it's Gollum, so I get really excited. Love this character, but I also love the drama and intrigue that he brings with him. So yes, love the Ents, love Gollum. But now let's talk about things away from characters. My third pro I'm going to give this book is the loyalty. Oh, the loyalty. One thing that I can't begrudge any of the books that I've read so far is the loyalty that is shown. It was definitely evident in The Hobbits. It was definitely evident in The Fellowship. Yeah, okay, we'll say yes. And it's clearly evident here in Two Towers as well. There are 2 characters, I won't talk much about them, again in case you haven't read this book, whose names are Sam and Frodo. And I'm not a big fan of Frodo, I've got to be honest, that's just me, just not a fan, just nothing really that intrigues me about Frodo. But Sam's love and loyalty for Frodo is amazing. I can't fathom how loyal Sam is. It's just overwhelmingly beautiful, and yeah, I needed to point that out. It's definitely one of my pros. And my final pro is something happens to Frodo towards the end of the book. I'm not going to say what it is, but it was a major plus because it was something that had to happen in this book. I'm not going to say what. I will in the spoiler version, but it had to happen. Okay, so I'll talk about it there. So just to sum up, I came into reading The Two Towers thinking, here we go again, because, after giving Hobbits 2 stars and The Fellowship 1 star, I thought, really not going to enjoy this at all, but I was proven wrong. And I want to say thank you, Tolkien. May he rest in peace. Whether you struggled to enjoy The Hobbit, The Fellowship of the Ring, or both, I highly recommend you read The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, because this is a good book. It's really interesting, it's really engaging, and descriptions and other things that are listed in my cons aside, this is an enjoyable read. So I didn't think I was going to be saying that. I thought we would come to the end of the month with me saying, I don't like this series and let's burn all these books. Not that I'm an advocate to burn books, but I'm saying that metaphorically speaking. Let's burn all these books because they're just terrible. But no, this one is really, really, really good and I want to save every single copy. So that's where we are going to leave it for the spoiler-free section. If you're not going to be joining me for the spoiler section, I completely understand. I'm letting you go with peace, blessings, and so much love. I post videos every Wednesday and Sunday with reviews in between, and I will see you again soon. For those of you who are going to join me for the spoiler section, we'll be back in just a moment. Okay, so here we are in the spoiler section for The Two Towers by J.R.R. Tolkien. If you have not read this book and you do not want to be spoiled, then I do recommend you click onto something else, maybe my weekly wrap. I don't have it up here or up there or in the description, but you can find it in my playlist under weekly vlogs and enjoy that. Or my April TBR to see what I'm reading next week. But anyway, let's move on to the spoiler section. So I've given enough warning. Here we go. We're going to dive right in. This book continues the journey of Frodo, who needs to take the ring to Mordor to burn the ring so that it no longer exists, and the fires in the volcano, whatever it is the only thing that can destroy this terrible ring. Okay. I knew nothing about Lord of the Rings coming in, and now the one thing that I know is that this quest is all about a flipping ring that, seriously, had Bilbo Baggins not picked up this ring, we wouldn't even be going on this quest. But anyway, it is what is. Frodo didn't even want to go on the quest. Bilbo didn't even want to go on a quest to begin with, and yet, here we are. But anyway, it is what it is. All right, so let me kind of go into more detail about the con side of things. So I did talk in the spoiler-free version about the two parts of this book. So I don't like the fact that we are following, I don't even remember all their names, but Legolas and the dwarf whose name starts with G, and I don't remember what it is. I'm sorry. Gimli. I think it's Gimli, and all the other company. And we don't get to Frodo and Sam until halfway through. Now, I'm not Frodo's number one fan. I just don't find him to be an intriguing enough character. I love Sam, not a fan of Frodo. I say what you want, I'm just not a fan of his. So I don't mind that I got halfway through and didn't see Frodo, but what I do mind is that if Frodo is the main character, you can't have a book that goes a whole part of the way through without even mentioning him. Really, like, mentioning, yes, but without seeing him, I don't like that. I also don't like the fact that they're all split up. That's really annoying. Like, yes, there is a great payoff when everyone finds each other again, which still they haven't found each other at this moment at the end of this book, but whenever anyone gets lost when they go on a quest and then they find the group again, there's a big hurrah, and I really do appreciate that, but I don't like everyone getting separated. Never have in any book, so... But anyway, yeah, I just didn't appreciate that about the two parts. Tolkien's descriptions, oh my god. Okay, that can be said for all of these books. It's just, yeah. I've spoken enough about that. We don't have to go into more detail about that, but Gandalf. Alright. How long do I have? I don't think I have long enough at all to talk about Gandalf, because I do want to put positives into this book, but... let me just say, the only thing I like about Gandalf, the only thing, is his dry sarcasm. I do love that. So when he was saying things to Pip like, my dear boy, all you would do is answers to questions and whatever he says, I'm definitely, bulldozing the word there. But the quote there. But his dry sense of humour I do love. But okay. This is how serious this is. I'm going to put the book down. Okay. Tell me, if you are a Lord of the Rings aficionado, tell me what you can about Gandalf being a wizard and not being able to help these characters. Oh my god. I have had sleepless nights thinking about this. Help these characters more than he has. Granted, in Fellowship, he stood up against the shadowy thing, said, you shall not pass, that very famous quote that I finally now have a connection to. But why in the world is he not assisting them more? Why? It's like Gandalf is the evil character, and if Gandalf turns out to be the evil character, then high five to me. Because seriously, He's a wizard that's following these characters on this quest, but he has magic, so why isn't he just apparating, or whatever word you want to use that is defined as going from one spot and then in the blink of an eye you appear in another spot that can be on the other side of the world? Why is he not doing this? Why is he not saying, okay, we need to get to Mordor, so we're going to apparate, or whatever word you want to use, to either to Mordor or to the area just outside of Mordor, and then travel from there? Why are we traveling through 20 different areas to get there when he's a wizard? And there is no explanation that I've come across as to why he's not assisting them with travel. No. There's nothing that says Gandalf is limited in his magical abilities. There's nothing that says because he's old, he's forgotten things that he can do. Seriously, it doesn't make sense. And if Gandalf has the ability to go from one place to another in the blink of an eye, the amount of things he could do for these people, least of all, traveling them in the blink of an eye, something that's taken 2 books to get to where I'm up to right now, and a third, because I'm going to keep going, to get there. Really, there's no need for this quest. You have a wizard. What is he doing? I don't understand. I don't get it. I have gripes. I do. So, another thing, he's a wizard, so all of the characters are out in the wilderness, wondering where their next meal is coming from, and if, excuse me, if the evil orcs are going to be on their backs or whatever, why can't Gandalf make them invisible? Why can't Gandalf build them a house with magic? Why can't he summon food to come to them? I'm assuming that because this is a classic and it was written so long ago, that Tolkien didn't think about the magic system. He just thought more along the lines of, I have these other beings here, so let's just plant a wizard in their midst and he might do a couple of things here or there. But to the current modern day reader, which I'm not really a fan of classics, I'm generally more a fan of modern day fantasy with well fleshed out magic systems, it's just so infuriating that there is a wizard in this series who is not doing anything to help them. Aside from what he did with the shadowy figure. He's not helping them. And let's go back to, where was the trolls? Hobbits. Okay, in The Hobbit, they are all trapped by these trolls. Gandalf comes along and he uses a different voice to distract the trolls before the sun comes out. Okay, you have magic, dude. Seriously, obliterate them with your staff, or turn them to stone with your staff, or send them away with your staff. Like, seriously, oh my god. It's crazy. I'm gonna have to move on. I'm gonna pause, I'm gonna breathe, and then I will move on. Okay, so I've spoken more than enough about Gandalf. You know my thoughts. Let's keep moving. Let's talk about the Ents. Oh my god. Love these Ents. I love Treebeard. What a beautiful soul Treebeard has. And the other dude, the other tree, I don't remember his name, Quickening or something like that, the one that's in too much of a rush. We don't hasten or we don't rush around here. We take our time. Oh, and how Ent was saying with the names, oh, I can't tell you my name because my name is a very long name, because for where we come from, our name talks about everything we've experienced. I love this guy. And when they're going to go to sleep, now I'm going to stand here to sleep. Where would you like to stand? Oh, we don't stand, we lay down. Oh, you do? I love Treebeard so much. And yeah, I enjoyed the first chapter of The Hobbit. I enjoyed Gollum in The Hobbit, but otherwise, including Hobbit and Fellowship, I was yet to come across a character that I absolutely fell in love with. I was very quick to say I swear my allegiance to Legolas because I love the elves, I love their culture, I love everything about them, but I hadn't found a character that I was like, yes, I love you, until I came across Treebeard. And I love Treebeard. Thank you, Tolkien. Treebeard single-twiggedly, get the joke? Twiggedly? Saved this book from getting 1 star, because everything about the Ents was so much fun to read. I loved that whole section. Thank you, Tolkien. Finally, it took 3 books, but we got to a stage where I was so engrossed in a moment within a book. Oh, thank you. Now let's talk about Gollum slash Smeagol. Now, what I'm working out, and I came into the series knowing nothing. I had never read any of the books. I'd never seen any of the films. So, and I'm now reading the books and watching the films. I read the book, then I watch the film, then I read the next book, so on and so forth. Hobbits was a headache. It's called The Hobbit, but my friend and I call it Hobbitses. Hobbitses was a headache because it was one book, 336 something odd pages, with 3 films. But then I read Fellowship, then I watched the Fellowship film. I've now read Two Towers. Tonight I'll watch the Two Towers film. But what I'm assuming is that Gollum has a split personality and his evil side is called Gollum and his good side is called Smeagol. That's what I'm assuming. I know there was a setup in Hobbit where it was explaining that he was born as Smeagol and became Gollum, but I'm still trying to wrap my head around all of this, but it seems like that's the case because we have clear moments where Gollum is with Sam and Frodo, which, let's just pause quickly to say how much I love that Frodo took Gollum under his wing. Like, that was so cool because it meant more Gollum, so yay. But we have that night where Frodo's asleep, Sam's awake, and he can hear Gollum and Smeagol chatting to himself. And Gollum is all, evil, and Smeagol is all, no, but I have sworn allegiance to my master. Nice Hobbit. Oh, God. I love Smeagol. I just want to adopt Smeagol. And he can have all the fish he wants. Bless him. And bless how offended he is to have anything that's been cooked. What? Why would you cook this rabbit where you can have it? It's so nice. Smeagol got it for you. Smeagol got you a nice young rabbit, but now you want to cook it and waste it. Oh my God. But I love Smeagol. Don't like Gollum at all. But either way, every time this character, Smeagol, Gollum, whatever you want to call it, is in a scene, the scene's level of intrigue spikes every single time because you know something good is going to happen. It's not going to be boring at all. And so to have part 2 basically be Sam, Frodo, and Gollum slash Smeagol was amazing. Really, without Smeagol, I don't know how good part 2 would have been for me. So really appreciate it. Let's talk about the loyalty. Sam's loyalty to Frodo is so beautiful. And the amount of times that they tell each other they love each other is just really, really sweet. It did have me questioning, do they want to be more than friends? But I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe it's left up to the reader's imagination as to whether they want more than friendship, but it seems that they just love each other as much as friends can, and especially Sam's devotion to Frodo. Oh my God, I don't like Frodo. I'm sorry. He just doesn't appeal to me. He's a little weakling that I just don't love. I'm sorry. But Sam's love and loyalty to Frodo is so beautiful, and I really appreciate that. So, yeah. Just wanted to quickly talk about that. But even the loyalty among the others as well. We can talk about, is it Gimli, the dwarf with a G? Anyway, gosh, Lord of the Rings aficionados are looking at me right now like, who are you and how dare you speak of our lovely series? You shall not pass. I'm sorry, I don't remember his name. I think it's Gimli. And Legolas. I love that their friendship has gotten to a stage where when they were given horses to ride on, and Gimli was saying, I would never do this, I would sooner walk myself because how dare we do this to an animal? And how Legolas says, well, what you can do is you can ride with me, and that way you never took a horse, you're just riding with me and you're on my horse, so you're not breaking any vow, but at the same time, you're still coming with us. Oh my God. I love Legolas for so many reasons. But to have their friendship be the way that it is just really, really beautiful. And I really hope that they go through with their plan to have, I hope his name is Gimli, I really do, Gimli visit Legolas's home and then have Legolas visit Gimli's home. Oh my gosh, can I read that book? I want to read that book and just see the cultural differences. That would be fun, much more fun than questing. And can we not have them quest? Can we have them just get there? Like, seriously, we have a page that says, we have a page that says, we're traveling out and we should get there next week. And then the next page says, so the following week they arrived there. And let's just jump right in, shall we? The final thing I want to discuss is what happens to Frodo at the end of this book, because it had to happen, okay? It had to happen. For someone like me who really had a tough time getting through Fellowship, let alone Hobbit, to have the death of Frodo at the end of this book, even though he's not dead, but the assumed death was needed because it takes the book to another level. It invokes emotion. Even though I'm not a fan of Frodo, I really couldn't care less about Frodo. I care about the ring, but I don't care about Frodo. Sorry if that's heartless. I just don't like him. But him dying, it adds a whole nother dimension to the book. It adds emotion in the book. It spurs motivation in the book to go and do other things. It was needed. So I appreciate that Tolkien said, you know what? Gosh dang the fact that he's my main character, I'm going to kill him. Yay. Really good. And then to have that struggle at the end with Sam thinking, oh, I know I have to go and I have to leave you, but I don't want to, and I shouldn't have to do this. But at the same time, this is Frodo's quest, and Frodo should be doing this. And to the dear lady, if she can hear me, I just want to say that I hope I find him again, which I found really beautiful, because I thought if he's going to ask the lady for anything, he would ask her to make Frodo alive again, but he didn't. He said, I just have one wish, that when I come back this way, he's still here. God, I love Sam. Seriously, bless Sam. Bless Sam, bless Sam, bless Sam. But then we get to the final chapter of the book where the orcs are talking and Sam overhears them and they're talking about what they're going to do. One of them just wants to eat Sam and the other one's saying, no, we can't because the king wants him locked up and all this, and yeah, more than that, but anyway. And then that one, the one who says, no, we're locking him up, says, he's not dead. What do you mean he's dead? He'll be alive in a couple of hours. He'll wake up. He's just, basically it sounds like he just blacked out. So, of course, Sam's really excited, going, oh my god, and I just left him there, and he's still alive, and da-da-da-da. And then Tolkien did the single best thing he could do. He said, the end. I think that was very smart, because now, for the first time in my Tolkienhood journey, I am saying I can't wait to read The Return of the King. I can't wait to pick up that book and find out what's going on and how is Sam going to go about rescuing Frodo, and when is the other group going to come and catch up with them, and with the Ents, like, are the Ents going to be there, are the Ents not going to be there, and what's going to happen with Gollum? Like, I know he betrayed them in the end, but is he still going to be around? Is he still going to be following them? And I have all these questions, and now I love this series. So I don't think I can safely say that I love the series overall, because of the 3 books I've read, I like one of them. But I've never been as intrigued as I am now to get on to book number 3 and read it, not to get it out the way, but because I really want to know what happens next. And that is thanks to Tolkien and his improved writing and the way that he does things. I finally want to talk about the fact that this is not what you call multiple perspective, but it's a many perspectives without labeling it a perspective book. Unlike in The Hobbit and unlike in The Fellowship of the Ring, where in Hobbit, if Bilbo Baggins wasn't seeing it, we weren't seeing it play out. And in Fellowship of the Ring, if Frodo wasn't seeing it, we weren't seeing it play out. We only got monologues of characters telling us what was going on. It was different in this book. Granted, we had Gandalf's monologue, but you know my thoughts on Gandalf. But in this book, Tolkien was not afraid to jump here, there, and yonder, and I really appreciated him going with Merry and Pippin on their journey to the Ents, and then going back to everyone else and seeing how they were going, and then going here, and then going there, and then going da, da, da. I really appreciated that. The only criticism I have is the fact that the book is in 2 parts, because they should have just left it as one book and had Frodo and Sam's adventure interlaced with the others and just alternated chapter by chapter. We have the company, chapter 1, for example, chapter 2, Frodo and Sam, chapter 3, the company, chapter 4, Frodo, Sam, Gollum, chapter 5, the company, chapter 6, Frodo, Sam, Gollum. I really would have been fine with that. But anyway, this is the single best Tolkien book I've read to date, and that is saying a lot coming from me, considering how much of a struggle I had with The Hobbit and with The Fellowship of the Ring. Anyway, this was my review of The Two Towers by J.R.R. Tolkien, the second, wherever the number 2 is. Oh, it's very hard to see. There we go. The second book in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which I do believe it is a trilogy, but correct me if I'm wrong. Next week I will be reading The Return of the King, and I'll let you know what I thought of that. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. I'm letting you go with peace, blessings, and so much love. Mwah. I post videos every Wednesday and Sunday with reviews in between, and I'll see you next time. Happy reading. Bye.